what is it we truly seek in the theater? Is it merely a ruse? A clever imitation of life? A comforting illusion? Or do we hunger for something that's more potent? Theater is often said to begin with an empty space. But for Viola Spolin, space is not empty. It is the water substance, invisible, felt. As she puts it, that which is not yet known comes out of that which is not yet here. Space is not a container. It is a substance, a collaborator. It holds the potential of what might be. And in that shimmering potential of the substance Spolin called space, we find the alchemy. The real magic isn't what appears. It's how we agree to find it. This essay ventures into the alchemical process.
An illusion isn't something that doesn't exist. It's something that isn't quite what it seems to be. Without an audience, you can't have magic. It really wouldn't work. Because I know the trick. If I'm doing some kind of trick, I know what it is. So it's really that relationship with the audience that's going to make this something truly not only magical, but theatrical. I don't know that we can create theater all by ourselves, really.
In 2024, I directed a production of Noah Heidel's play Birthday Candles, which is set in the same house over 100 years. Instead of a traditional set or props, the company built the environment out of space substance using Viola Spolin's theater games. The actors used a theater game called Emerging Where, in which they look at their playing space and create the world of the play and, one at a time, piece by piece, enter the playing space and make parts of the world visible. Each actor then follows by revealing what they have seen from the actor before them, both communicating what has clearly been made visible to them and reinforcing the existence of the emerging where.
When we started the process, we were all very hesitant doing a full production with the space. You don't know how anything is going to be received, so it was a very pleasant surprise whenever we had an audience and they could see it and they reacted to everything and they felt everything the way that we did.
In Los Angeles, I spend a lot of time at a place called the Magic Castle. And so we have performers, variety performers coming there from all over the world. But I guess I think of us all as actors, because as you say, that was my background. So studying the space work and like the Spolin work, this book here, improvisation for the theater. There's a couple ideas I'd like to start by sharing about how magicians think. And then maybe we can figure out what this has to do with creating magic in space or illusions, or whether that's something that even exists. I guess the only difference I sometimes find between magic and theater that we typically think of, when we go see that versus magic, there's something about the suspension of disbelief. We talk about that. And the great part about it is in the theater, everything is what it seems to be. And nobody stops and says, oh, but you're not really Doc in West Side Story. Stop this right now.
I'm holding this baby, and this baby is obviously not physically there, but it is there.
To understand how this conjuring is activated, we must look to one of Spolin's most misunderstood tools, the game. It is easy to dismiss theater games as childish, or mere warm-ups, but for Spolin, they were sacred rituals. They are, as the actor Valerie Harper once described, an ancient door.
At first glance, playing games and ritual might seem like opposites. One associated with fun, the other with solemn tradition. However, performance scholars have long noted the deep connection between them. Johann Huizinga, in his classic study Homo Ludens, argues that play creates a magic circle, a protected realm with its own rules, not unlike the sacred space of a ritual. Victor Turner took this further. For Turner, such a space is liminal, a threshold zone betwixt and between ordinary reality where transformation becomes possible. Within this circle, participants can experience what Turner called communitas, an intense, egalitarian connection. This is not ritual in a religious sense, but a powerful secular process. It is important to note, as scholars like Erika Fischer-Licht have critiqued, that 20th century performance theory often exoticized non-Western ritual forms. Spolin's work avoids this by focusing on the universal structure of play itself.
With the space work, it humbles you because you're doing nothing but simply playing. And it really brings you down to that aspect of acting is just playing, and that's all you're doing. It can be very serious, but it's really just play, serious play.
I remember as a kid, like doing space work or just playing, finding things that would emerge out of nothing.
We always think with our bodies in space, and it's visible in those moments. It's visible when we allow our body to respond to what's in front of it.
In her writing, Cook draws from neuroscience to suggest that the audience's motor cortex may simulate the action they're watching. When a Spolin actor lifts an invisible cake with weight and care, the audience doesn't just watch. They may internally feel the gesture. While at times it may look similar to mime, the actor Gary Schwartz once told this story about working with Spolin on space. After an exercise, she asked, "Were you actually handling that object, or were you drawing us a picture?" He thought and said, "I was drawing you a picture." Spolin replied, "And it was a very nice picture. We all saw it, but you didn't." Mime draws a picture. Space substance makes something real. It's not illustration. It's invocation.
Mime is really rooted in the manipulation of the body. I feel like Spolin's space work is rooted in translating practical objects or actual objects. They're not entirely different, but I do think that my starting place is different.
If you're picking up, a teacup or something, we're going to make sure that we don't want to completely do this because then there's no space for something to actually fit in there. But you are, respecting the space. And then when you see people that don't respect the space, it bugs you.
When a show is very committed to space work, then as an audience member, I agree to those rules. So yeah, if somebody were to walk through the table, I'd be really upset. Like, I was working, I put that there, and you just messed it up.
Let's keep going with it and let me build on that. So when you have an object and they see it clearly as you do, it's like, okay, we're in this together. Because if they don't see it, then it doesn't work. So it's like a two-way game. I have to build this so you see it, and you have to be able to follow it with me.
Spolin's work with space substance constitutes an intervention, a performance ontology that redefines how we understand the magic of the theater. Not as simply suspending disbelief, but as the collaborative conjuring of a shared, living reality. I call this phenomenon attentional materialism, a form of embodied conjuring rooted in substantive space.
I think that if you had told me, hey, you're gonna go watch a show with no set or props and the actors will be interacting with these things, I would be prepared to see miming and be prepared also to eye roll and want to walk out at intermission. That is not how I experienced the play at all. I was really alive to it. It took my energy too to be holding up the space with them. Like once I know the cabinet is right there, I agree to the cabinet and I'm holding up the cabinet in space. This takes my energy to do. And so I'm like one of the creators in some kind of way. Like I am more important as an audience member than I feel in situations where it's just sort of given to me.
Amy Cook makes the point that nothing takes on the characteristics of something when we collectively believe it's there. What Spolin actors do is literalize this cognitive process, treating nothing as a real object, handled, sensed, and seen.
If I want the audience to look at something, I look at it myself.
What we know about our visual system is that it fills things in.
6 months after the play closed, I interviewed members of the audience to ask what they remembered the set looked like, seeking an example of what Roland Barthes called obtuse meaning, a sensory reality that exists beyond the literal facts of the performance.
A drawer cabinet where like the fish was on the left.
On 3 sides there were counters and cabinets above.
Oven, stove top.
Wooden cabinets, marbled countertops with a nice floral wallpaper.
There was a piano on stage left.
Flour, measuring cups, eggs, space eggs, spags.
I remember that the roof of the house was a book.
Nice, well-kept garden.
Nail polish, very specific colors of nail polish.
At one point there was even a basketball hoop for the young boy.
I can't look away because I have to be paying attention in case I miss a detail.
Suddenly the story they're telling becomes so much more impactful in a way that you couldn't always do without space work.
This shared investment creates what Barthes called a density of signs and sensations, a theatricality where gesture, distance, and substance become a language more potent than words. The actor does not perform reality, the actor enters reality. Spolin challenges us to sense the substance through which we all come in contact, like fish and water.
Central to Spolin's theater, the space is not empty. Space itself is a substance, one we may enter, contact, and shape. Space is not the absence of matter. It is the unknown, a space where we reside in the visible, and the invisible may meet. Her work isn't about pretending. It's about revealing the perceptual truth.
We see the puppeteer. We're not fooled. So what those sorts of moments in the theater reveal is that it's not so much that something magic happened in the theater, but something magic happens every day in my life as I'm making sense of the world, and theater reveals it.
It seemed like a silly thing, and at first we didn't really know if that was an idea that would work and read, but without fail, after every single show, the first thing almost every audience member would come up to me and say is like, I smelled the cake. You know, like I could smell it and it felt real. And it was exactly like a little kid saying like, oh, I saw the magician pull the rabbit out of his hat.
That meaning is made between us. That is the alchemy, the startling appearance of a new reality from the life of the old. It's not creating something from nothing. It's about exposing the something that's always been there.